Welcome to another episode of How We See It 3, the podcast where we discuss positive political commentary in sports, entertainment, and community by everyday people. Today we're going to be discussing lies. Little white lies, big lies, good lies, bad lies.
Fat lies, skinny
fat lies, political lies. I was reading a survey. I was just reading a survey the other day. That 61% of Americans confess that they tell good lies. Is there anything such thing as a good lie?
It depends. Like, does this dress make me look fat?
So that's a relationship lie.
Well, that's a loaded question to begin with. But in my opinion, no.
There's no good lies.
No.
So if your spouse, your significant other, your girlfriend, whoever says, "Hey, do I look good in this dress?" and she doesn't, you're going to actually confess and tell her she doesn't look good?
Yeah. But it's
okay,
how
so you won't be together. You won't be in a relationship long.
Right. It's how you say it. Right?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I was like, no, you don't look good. Like, no, it's like, maybe the color's not that right for you.
But she's not asking you about the color. She's asking how it fits on her body.
Or I say it's probably cut wrong.
Oh, it's cut wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't even ask the question.
So is there any good lies?
I wouldn't even ask the question.
So you don't ask questions like that?
Well, no. I mean, I wouldn't not wanting to know because somebody might lie to me.
But we always ask questions we don't want to know the truth.
Well, that's true.
So you're saying that if your husband or your boyfriend comes to you and says, "Hey, does this suit look good on me?" and you know it's a little bit too tight, his belly's punching out a little bit, you would say something?
No, I think I would.
You would say something?
I think I would.
And you'll make him feel subconscious for the rest of the night because you're getting ready to walk out the door, and you're going to a party, you're going to somewhere.
I'm gonna have to agree with JT.
You gotta be
there are ways to say it. It's the way you say it. Right.
I would have to say that I agree with the 61% of Americans that say there's a good lie because I will not tell my wife if does this dress look good on me? Baby, listen, for me, it looks good. How do you feel? What do you think? So I put it back on my wife and say, hey, what do you think? Because at the end of the day, it's her decision. All right? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get to our first issue. All right. Yeah. Political lies. Okay? What's the biggest lie told in Washington by politicians? Remember, I didn't inhale.
Okay. All right.
I didn't have sexual relations with that woman. Or they are murderers and rapists coming across the border. What's the biggest lie that's been told by politicians?
Well, how deep are we going to get into it?
Right,
Because, I could put on a tinfoil hat and we can talk about conspiracy theories and we can talk about a bunch of different lies.
We're talking about lies. We're talking about lies. Now I didn't inhale. Okay. I didn't have a sexual relation with that woman. Mm-hmm.
Now, you're talking about the same person.
Which was the same person. And then, you know what I'm saying? Politicians tell lies to support, to raise the energy of their base, to get their site, energize their base.
Sure. And how do we know that these are lies? Some things are obvious.
Well, obviously.
Come on.
Well, let me tell you. The current administration said that the Mexicans come across the border is all murders and rapists.
Right.
Now, I'm pretty confident that's a lie.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I'm saying I didn't inhale.
I didn't.
Right. We don't believe him.
Well, I mean, I believe him. He said that
I believe him. I believe him. Well, I tried to smoke a cigarette once, and I didn't know how. I think I puffed out because I was young and I didn't know. And I was like, why isn't the smoke coming through my nose?
Was it a cigarette or a marijuana joint?
No, it was actually.
Because you can say that you smoked a marijuana joint because it's legal now.
Well,
we're all okay with that.
I mean, but back in college, it wasn't.
It wasn't legal in college? I thought all campuses had legal marijuana use in colleges. I thought that was the golden rule. So what do you think about the biggest lie told in Washington?
The war on drugs.
The war on drugs?
The war on drugs, because it was an excuse to rally up the Black Panthers, black protesters, and even the hippies. It's, one of the things Nixon talked about, It put a lot of brown, black people, even some Caucasian people behind bars, Well,
they didn't get arrested because he just said the war on drugs. They got arrested because they were in possession of marijuana or something.
The lies were that it was blown out of proportion.
Right.
Like, it was the detriment to the country to target this, but he was targeting it because of the counterculture to what he wanted, at the time. The free love, the revolutionary, all that kind of thing.
So what do you think? So what are you?
What about weapons of mass destruction?
Oh, that's a good one. Yes.
Did that?
But didn't we think they have weapons of mass destruction?
Wait, are we forgetting that mission accomplished?
Right.
Okay.
So that's why we attacked, right? That's why the war went on.
We attacked because they attacked the World Trade Centers.
Oil. You know,
Right. No, it was retaliation for that. But in addition to that,
that was the Kuwait War. That was Kuwait.
but in retaliation of that, right? But they also have weapons of mass destruction, right? So let's just, bomb that whole area.
Go after him,
yeah, absolutely.
And he wasn't even there.
Right. Right. He wasn't even.
But mission accomplished.
Right.
So you saying those particular lies are bigger than the ones that's being told right now?
No, I don't want to say bigger.
Are more significant? Because the war lasted forever. Well, I mean, I don't know how many years the war lasted, but that war probably still going on. Actually, it's in some ways. It's
created a power vacuum.
Yeah.
Well, I find the things that are going on now seem to be like daily, daily things.
So these are what you call little lies, because you think about it, he tweets a tweet every single day about something. That's what's going on. So those can maybe considered little lies because it's not got to the level of really big lies. Like President Clinton got impeached.
Right.
Yeah. By the House. Right. Because of I didn't have sexual relations with that woman. You know what I'm saying? That was a lie he got caught in.
Abuse of power.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's abuse of power.
Well, he got caught in that lie. Right?
He got caught in that lie. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that lie is not as significant as, that's a big lie because he got him impeached.
Right.
But the little lies that are going on right now, you don't think is that big of a deal.
Oh.
Versus the Iraq versus
Nixon, Watergate.
Yeah. I mean, I think for the lies right now, I think it's too soon to see the impact of it because things are still unfolding. Mueller's still holding things close to the chest.
Right.
I think maybe a couple of years from now, we'll see.
So you think that eventually the biggest lies that come out of Washington would have come from this administration? When it's all said and done?
Nah.
I think there's just so much in history.
So what happens if the president is in bed with Russia? What happens if he's an agent of Russia?
Well, he should absolutely be impeached, and that's.
Well, will that be the biggest lie, though? What I'm trying to say to you.
Oh, that's
would that
treason.
Be the biggest
Isn't
lie?
that treason?
Well, but it's a lie, though.
In the past, there's been treason.
Because he said I'm not. He said I'm not. There's no Russian collusion.
Okay.
There's no Russian collusion.
So how are we comparing these things? Biggest what? I mean, like who wins? Is that kind of thing? Like who wins?
It's a competition.
For the biggest lie. The biggest lie.
I think what I'm trying to say to you is that personally, what do you think? That's why I said
impact.
What we think is we're everyday people. We're making our own personal assessments, our own judgments on these things. So you don't believe, or do you believe that it could possibly be the biggest lies ever told? If these things come to be true.
Possibly, absolutely. And I think the reason that, we have these historical things that we've been talking about.
Right. Yeah.
What's happening right now is what I feel and what I know, right? It wasn't around for Nixon. I'm not that old.
Right.
But the things that are happening now, and they are little lies that mount to, but it seems like it's every day. Yeah. So to me, that just kind of is a huge accumulation of things, whether it compares to weapons of Watergate. Or Watergate, All
right. Well, we're going to have to be the last word on that. Thank you very much. We'll be right back with How We See It Through. Welcome back to How We See It Through with my everyday people. So this week, we're adding more to the political lie segment. Michael Cohen testified before the Congressional House.
Congress House. The House.
It was a committee that was the Ethics Committee. Yes. That's what he did. He testified in front of that committee. Okay. And he said some amazing things that we were all thinking about Donald Trump, President Trump. Mm-hmm. And he didn't put in collusion with the Russians, but he did make a connection between Donald Trump Jr. And all the bad bullying stuff that Donald Trump does. So what do you think about that? Did you watch it at all? Did you get a chance?
I saw some snippets of it. Yeah. Unpopular opinion. I don't think he's going to get impeached. I don't think so. Unpopular opinion, just because people are so much in denial right now about just everything, and a lot of people look the other way with him.
Well, impeachment doesn't really. Right now, in the House, he can be impeached. The Senate is where the Republicans have control, so they would have to convict him as well, and that's where he would get impeached. Now, I'm agreeing with you that Republicans probably would not impeach him, but I think if it got too far, like Michael Cohen presented checks. Mm-hmm. He had checks signed by Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. If it gets too far into where the evidence is overwhelming, I think Republicans have to do something. You know what I'm saying? They already have to come out and such this and reel back their support of him. Because if they don't, that lie is going to blow up in their face come the next election. There will be a Democratic president. And then after that, the 2 years, the midterm of that, there will be a Democratic House. I mean, a Senate. So I think those lies are going to catch up with them if they don't do something about it. What do you think?
Right. Well, it was a very compelling testimony all day.
It was convincing.
All day.
It was convincing. Right?
Some things that we had heard before, not but the fact that he did this voluntarily, right? He kept saying that. I mean, just to me, I kind of already heard new things, and I see what goes on. I read the tweets and that sort of thing. So I don't see that we have a very honest,
system.
An honest person running our country right now, right?
So do you think Michael Cohen was telling lies when he was testifying just to get back at Trump because he's going to jail?
I honestly don't believe he was just telling lies.
So he came clean.
I think he did.
Even though he's going to jail.
He's going to prison.
He's going to prison. Right. He ain't going to jail. He's going to prison.
He's going to prison.
But he's not going to a real prison. Let's make that very clear.
Right. It's going to be a country club kind of like.
It's a country club prison. I mean, I think
where you can get sushi and everything.
Oh, wow.
I think they do have this prison he's going to. Is a really posh prison. But I think he has to pay for that too.
Yeah, you do.
I think he's actually paying to actually be in prison.
Okay.
So
all right.
But so you're saying his lies prior to that were really lies. This was the honest truth.
I think so. I honestly do. I think that what he was lying and what he said he was lying about was to protect the president, right? And even when he wasn't the president, this is what he was doing. He was telling these lies because
he's a fixer. That was his job.
He's an attorney.
That was his job.
Not saying attorneys a lot, but
So that leads us to our next segment in a few minutes. When we come back, we're going to be discussing more, kind of lying for the cause, lying for the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Cohen was lying for a cause. Mm-hmm. He was serving the president. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that coming back up right after this. We'll be right back with more How We See It 3. Welcome back to How We See It 3. Right now we're going to discuss lying for a cause. Okay? So, do you think the current group of politicians running for president will have to tell a lie to get elected? Because remember, the very first thing that Donald Trump said when he got up to the podium and said he's running for president, all Mexicans are murderers and rapists. And some of his base lit up. And they got excited by that. So do you think the current group of politicians is going to have to tell a lie to kind of get the momentum going?
Not that lie. Obviously
not that lie because he already used it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Not something
but do you have to lie? I mean, because think about it. I mean, people want to hear what you feel, what they feel. And a lot of people in this world don't like other people. A lot of people aren't happy.
Oh, of course.
Matter of fact, there's a lot. Yeah, a lot. You said it, a lot of hate. Like, what do you think?
Unfortunately, yes, because if you look at media, you see it on television shows. You even see it in, children's programming about politicians. Politicians tell people what they want to hear. Empty promises, giving you half of what you wanted. Right. So of course you have people that will put, the cause over the people or party over the country. Right. You have enablers. You have people that always have something to gain. So they will always hide the truth. It's, unfortunately, it's human nature to lie. People tell lies all the time. Even I tell little white lies from time to time. That doesn't make anyone a bad person. But when you put other causes, especially in this case, the country that affects millions of lives, when you're putting your party, whether you're Democrat or Republican, above the people that you're supposed to serve, that's when it's a huge problem.
So you're saying yes. They're gonna have to tell little white lies,
of course,
but they can't tell a lie that is so significant that they come back to haunt them. Because that was a lie that comes back to haunt Donald Trump. There's no question. Yeah. They're not all Mexicans.
I mean,
but that's also why the wall is so significant to him. That's why the wall was so important. That's also why that caravan that was coming up there, or that caravan is invading America.
Right.
Because that very first statement he said was that they all are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. So, and then after the midterms, you didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he lost. Didn't work.
Right.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
So.
I know. It's like
I know.
every day. No. It's disappointing. to think that that's probably what some are going to do.
Yeah.
And what we touched on earlier is there's a lot of people that don't like other people. Right. So I guess if you figure out what group of people you want to follow you, or what group you would like to vote for you.
So you like Kamala Harris, right? That's her name, right? Kamala Harris?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
so she went on a radio program.
Yes.
And said she did smoke marijuana. She inhaled, and she said it that she did it while listening to when she said it. She didn't do it when she was a prosecutor.
Oh, okay.
And she referred to an episode that she did it while she was listening to Tupac.
Right.
So when she was a prosecutor, Tupac wasn't even before she was a prosecutor, Tupac didn't do records.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Didn't do CDs, should I say? Not records. That aged me a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So now that you know that she told a little white lie, do you still support her?
Did she tell a lie, or did she just get her facts mixed up? Her facts were a little.
Or did she want to seem cool? Did she tell a lie? See, that's the difference. She's on a cool radio show. She's on a cool. She's trying.
Right.
Everybody wants to get back.
Breakfast Club or something.
Yeah, everybody want to get back to the Bill Clinton era when he went on Arsenio Hall and played the saxophone. Everybody said, "Oh my God, that guy is cool. That guy is something special." Everybody tried to do that. So everybody, Barack Obama,
the first black president before we had Barack.
Yeah, exactly. So
people joked about
that's
it.
what they said. Yeah,
and that was the first big political lie because he wasn't black, but he was in our eyes. We only saw
because
he had a cool and a swagness about him.
Yeah,
you know
he played the saxophone. He was on Arsenio.
Okay.
And he was cool with Arsenio. He could talk to Arsenio.
I didn't think he was black.
If you put George Bush in that scenario or Ronald Reagan in that scenario, Ronald Reagan would like
yeah, of course,
crickets. You wouldn't say nothing.
Right.
So because she was trying to be cool, trying to be hip, she kind of got caught up in the moment. So that little lie could come back to haunt her. That little lie, people say, if you can't believe her, or they say, hey, look, you know what? I went to prison. Now, how much you will make a bet that Trump, if she wins a nomination, how you make a bet Trump won't find a black dude, African American or Hispanic that went to prison while she was a prosecutor, and he was said she was high, so therefore she misrepresented her case
that
to me.
could come back to haunt her.
Exactly.
Anything can kind of come back to kind of.
So those are the kind of lies I'm trying to talk about. Do we still support them? Will you still support her if that happens?
Yes.
Is that little lie not a big lie?
It's a little lie to me because I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt and saying that she just was lost in the time continuum.
Okay. So I'll pose another question to the both of you. So what happens if there becomes another lie?
Oh, if it just kind of
what if another lie comes out and she gets caught in it and you kind of know she denies it, but you kind of know it's a lie? Do you back down your support because of party? Do you stay with the party because you need the victory?
What is the lie?
Well, I don't know what the lie is. It ain't happened yet.
Well,
it ain't happened.
If we're speaking hypothetically,
it's a hypothetical lie.
Okay.
It depends on severity. If it's like you trying to, I hate that kind of use it, be the cool mom or the hip person, but if you start, really going into like lying about policy, lying about maybe I didn't misrepresent somebody if I was a lawyer and it turns out that you kind of are, then you really need to kind of like reevaluate and really look at, the principles and what they're really trying to accomplish as, a political figure because, was it fool me once?
Yeah.
I want to pull Ronald Reagan here.
So here's the deal. So she tells a little white lie. I'm just using her as an example. Okay. So we shouldn't be bashing Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Okay. We can go after someone else because I believe that what's the lady's name? She says she was Native American. Turns out that she's Elizabeth Warren, and she's not so Native American after all.
But she did. But then she have a little bit.
I thought there was
a little
something.
bit, but she was saying it was pretty much like this. She said she was 60% pretty much. I'm not saying that's the percentage. Turns out she was 5%. That's a big disparity. You know what I'm saying?
Was she trying to get benefits or something? What was she trying to do?
It was a back and forth thing between her and Donald Trump.
But here's the thing, homie. Just think about that. Is that enough of a lie that make you question her? Because she's not lying about who she is. She's about not telling you the full truth of who she is. Like I refuse to take DNA tests. Those are just crazy. I ain't put my name in no system. They can find me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Well, they sell your information.
Well, and that's how people are getting caught. Green River Killer.
Was it BTK?
BTK. Hold that thought for 1 second. We'll be right back after this. More How We See It 3.
All right.
Welcome back to How We See It 3. We're going to finish up real quick. I'm going to give B the last word on the last topic.
Lying for the cause?
Lying for the cause.
Oh, yes.
So Elizabeth Warren, we're talking
Oh, Elizabeth Warren. Okay, so again, I was going to give her the benefit of the doubt, right? Did she blatantly lie, or did she think that she had some sort of Cherokee or Native American?
No, she says she did.
She did, but she exaggerated the amount.
So she did. So exaggeration of a lie is okay by you.
Yes, yes, and I did meet Barack Obama.
Now that's perfect.
That's
perfect because the next issue we're going to be talking about is Hollywood lies, and it goes right into exaggeration. So can you believe? Can we believe entertainers when they get caught in a lie? You know, like Lance Armstrong and the steroid thing, and Milli Vanilli. You know what I'm saying? Jesse Smollett. Jesse Smollett. Now exaggerating the lie. That's exaggerating the lie. Jesse Smollett. What do you think about that? How do you feel about Jesse Smollett as a person? Even though that it ain't been proven that he did it. He's saying he didn't do it. He's saying the evidence is pointing right at him.
Right. But there are people who are free where the evidence pointed right at them, but they're free as a bird. Okay.
But here's the thing. It's not about him going to jail.
No, I understand.
He won't do one time for jail for this.
Sure.
But it's about the lie he told the public.
Right.
It's about the lie he told the police department. It's about the lie he told the gay community. It's about the lie he told African Americans. It's about the lie in general. So can we believe in it? Do we give Jesse Smollett a second chance? Because I say, no. I'm done with Jesse Smollett because not only did he set back what race relations in this country have a problem with, is that he also did the same thing with gay and lesbians. You know what I'm saying? He set their cause back.
We cannot throw him away.
Well, I don't believe one person set a whole cause back. Two whole causes. One that's at least for me, I find that impossible. Two, I saw a thing. It was a actress that was talking about Jesse Smollett, and I believe this is that people in pain lie like that. People who have anguish inside them, you know, kind of do these kind of things. I know you look at me like I'm stupid, but I'm hoping somewhere along the line that he can find peace with himself and learn to kind of forgive himself. And
I ain't worried about him forgiving himself, about me forgiving him.
It's about the process, and then get to a place where he comes back from a place of redemption and be like, I messed up, you know, I did this, you know, and find his way back to at least some type of life. It probably won't be in Hollywood just because of everything else, but somewhere where he can kind of, you know, make it be happy with himself, you know, because it's a horrible thing that he did. It's very horrible, and I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but we can't throw him away completely for that.
Yeah.
So listen. Whenever someone gets caught, you know, psychologists come out, people come out, and they'll say, "Hey, look, this guy's hurting. There's a reason why this guy did this. He has a reason why he did it. He said he wasn't making enough money. He wanted more money. That was greed talking. That wasn't his internal clock or his internal heart hurting and pain and suffering because he's gay and he's being abused, or he's African American, he's being abused. What he's doing is saying, I need money. I need more money. So therefore, I'm gonna create this big ruse to get it, and I'm gonna do a ruse that's so big that's gonna draw real attention. He put a noose around his neck, man. It is something that African American people have been hung in this country, have been hung. Let's just repeat that, hung in this country by white people. And he used the MAGA hat thing. He made the whole Make America Great, which is symbolizing white supremacy in some people's eyes. So what he did was, he did take a black people step back.
Hold on, I'm going to step in. No, I'm going to have to really disagree on you. Is one of the things that I've learned is empathy. Empathy does not mean that you're saying this is okay, because I'm not saying it's okay. I'm telling you, one person cannot set a movement back. And two, if he was saying, I wanted more money, right? Well, then what lies beneath that? Think, like, just for a second, try to think what lies in below that.
Privilege, homie. Because he was making $65,000.
It's not just privilege.
Average Americans don't make $65,000 a year, let alone a week.
I'm just saying, try to get out your mind and think of that. Okay, maybe it's self-worth. Maybe he's unhappy. A lot of things in his life. I'm just saying, I don't know.
I'm unhappy. I didn't have the breakfast I wanted this morning.
If you can kind of go there, empathy. empathy.
I have empathy for people that deserve empathy, bro. This guy doesn't deserve
Everyone
empathy.
deserves some type of
No, this guy
empathy.
doesn't deserve empathy, no.
I think the biggest lie is the fact that he was eating at Subway at 2 a.m. No, I'm just, listen. Do you almost spit your water out? Listen.
That was true, though. That's straight
You make
facts.
$65,000 an episode, and you at the Subway?
You could DoorDash that. Homeboy, DoorDash it, Grubhub, Uber Eats.
Come on, man.
So
but listen, I'm 50-50 there because I want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
He's saying
so let me say
he
this.
didn't do
Let me-
this,
let me
but
po-
then
let me
the
pose this-
evidence looks
Let me pose
pretty
this question.
bad.
Let me pose this question.
Yes.
You get right now we have a lot of radical people sending bombs for the right to the left and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So what happens if two white dudes go out and say, hey, you know what, I am gonna beat up a gay black dude and I'm gonna whoop his behind and I'm gonna put a noose around their neck because Jesse Smollett did this. So Jesse Smollett now create a problem for not only that person who's getting his butt beat, but that person's family, the people around it, the community, the black community, the gay and lesbian community, the mega community, because all this stuff is now going to trickle down to a big vacuum of hatred and continue on.
No.
So Jesse
There's always
Smollett-
been always been an issue. Look at Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
Like there's countless of black people that's been killed.
But there's
beat
no
up.
lie to Trayvon Martin, bro. A racist killed him. Jesse Smollett
But
lied.
you're saying, sorry.
Oh,
go.
no, I'm sorry. If somebody's going to use what Jussie Smollett did to beat up black folks and put nooses around their necks, that's their excuse for doing. They were probably going to do that at some point.
No, they
this way,
wouldn't.
right? Yeah. Oh, come on, man.
They were going to
Come
maybe
on.
beat up a gay lesbian
There was
person,
somebody hanging
but-
in
but-
Georgia somewhat recently. Somebody was hanging.
Yeah.
Okay. Or somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where.
There's
But I mean,
there's been things like this all the time.
Yeah, sure. We can use that as an excuse. Let's do this now. It's because Jussie Smollett. That would be the biggest travesty to me if somebody is going to say that we're going to.
But if they say that, if Jesse Smollett would have never done what he did what he did,
That's B.
But if he
Yes.
would never
That's
done,
B.
but if he never would have done
S,
it,
not
if he would've-
B.
But he would have never
That's
done it.
BS.
If he would have never done it, then we wouldn't have had this problem.
Oh no,
Nah,
I disagree.
you're tripping.
I
No.
disagree.
Listen. You can disagree with all you want.
I
to disagree.
disagree.
I'm saying to you, Jesse Smollett.
We have callers. We have callers.
Jesse Smollett. Hey, Jesse Smollett, call us on the
Hello.
phone. Jesse
I will
Smollett.
This is a load of crap.
Yes.
I will honestly.
I will support. I have the empathy that JT's talking about for this young man.
Okay, you can have whatever all you want. I'm just saying to you.
And there could be an underlying problem.
Yeah.
Didn't we talk about mental health?
We're
Yeah.
gonna come back and we're gonna talk about some really big lies in the entertainment
Okay.
industry. Milli Vanilli, Lance Armstrong. We'll be right back after this with more How We See It 3. Welcome back to How We See It 3. We're going to continue our discussion on Hollywood lies. Listen, the biggest lies in Hollywood, some of the biggest ones, obviously Milli Vanilli. I mean,
Like am I doing it right?
you know it's true.
Yeah.
They didn't sing a word.
Right.
And then when they got caught, they tried to cut a record. They proved they could sing.
Yeah.
And it sucked.
But we
So,
have to say one
what
rest in
makes-
peace, right? Rest in peace. To
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
One of
so,
them was-
yeah. So let me ask you a question. So the question I pose to you is this: is that because they lied, do we forgive them because it was just a musical record? Someone was really singing, all they were the front people for it. Do we forgive those lies? Because for me, I don't think it's a big deal. I will not forgive Jesse Smollett, but I can forgive Milli Vanilli because they didn't do anything to hurt anybody. They sold records, but what you did was you bought the sound that was coming through the CD, the radio. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think they set black music back 20 years?
No, they did not. They did not.
You know,
Because-
it put
because-
real musicians out.
Because in Hollywood and the music business, that's been going on for hundreds of years. That's
Hundreds of years.
Yeah, the entertainers from the early 1900s have been doing that. There've always been someone. First of all, there was radio shows. There wasn't like
Sure.
TV shows. There was radio.
Really?
You didn't know
Was
that.
Really?
No, they
I'm sorry. You were talking to us like, or me like, they were radio.
Well, I think the point he's trying to get
sorry.
across.
radio
Yes.
theater.
Yes,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Radio theater.
Sorry.
So in case you didn't know,
Sorry.
I'm gonna make that clear to
I'm
you.
sorry.
But radio theater,
Sorry.
they would put a poster out of someone on the poster, the billboard that's in that play, and the people behind the scenes wouldn't be the same people.
Oh yeah.
So that's been going on for years.
Amos and Andy, do you know?
Exactly.
Amos and Andy were white men that were okay.
And blackface. There's blackface, you know what I'm saying?
Why did they need blackface on radio? We didn't see it.
What I'm trying to say to you,
sorry.
What I'm trying to say to you is that's been going on for years, so it's easy to forgive them because they were just doing what the industry has been doing for a very, very long time.
Oh, I'm not mad at Milli Vanilli.
It's easy to forgive.
I mean,
so we can forgive that lie, right?
Well, did they lie or did their
they lied.
The industry, they knew. Oh, they told us.
They got swept into.
They went on stages at the Grammys and started singing, lip syncing.
Okay, so did the person who really the voice? Did they get a record deal?
They had a record deal. That was their record deal.
No, the real voice.
They're getting paid though.
Oh,
they
didn't
money.
Have a. Oh, okay.
It's they weren't marketable.
Okay.
And that's traditionally what it is.
I'm not holding a grudge.
That's why the theater has probably some of the best voices. Mm-hmm. You know, if you go to watch theater plays with it, they're the best voices in the world because those people don't fit well in the general public. They don't sell. They're not marketable.
Well, I hate to say, I mean, Milli Vanilli is probably not relevant right today.
Well, not today,
right? But I get what you're saying. But
it's the severity of the lies I'm trying to say to you. Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Lance Armstrong built a foundation to this day. It's very, very strong still, and is making tons of money, and it supports causes of cancer. And it puts a lot of causes, but Lance Armstrong lied through his teeth. When everybody said, "Hey, dude, this guy was on steroids and you taking drugs," no. Then he finally come clean. He had to pay a bunch of money.
Yeah, because he did win like every race.
He Tour de France. He won for 19 years in a row. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Yeah. But here's the thing.
That was
do we forgive Lance Armstrong because he created this? You know, what's it called? Strong.
The foundation, wasn't it Livestrong?
Livestrong Foundation. It does a lot of great work, and still right now is a functioning foundation that does an enormous amount of work. Do we forgive him for that lie? Because he wasn't telling the truth. We don't forgive A-Rod. We don't let baseball players in the Hall of Fame because they did steroids.
Right.
But this particular man, he's been living a great life ever since then.
I mean,
you know, not such. So does A-Rod. He's dating Jennifer Lopez.
But we tend to forgive athletes and entertainers a lot more. I mean, look at Sonny Liston. Right. He was accused of lying and cheating with the Tiger Balm on his gloves, and you know, I mean, there's always been steroid quote unquote abuse in that fixed things like
fixed fights. Yeah,
I mean, we like we're built on like a Roman type of society. Is that entertainers are kind of like our gods.
Yeah. It's sad. So those lies, Hollywood lies, not a big lie, and not a big deal. Well, those are the lies that people are saying. 61% of Americans says are good lies.
No,
those are good
Lance
lies.
Armstrong thing was huge.
It was a huge deal.
Oh, that was huge.
But the thing with Lance Armstrong, his foundation didn't suffer.
Right.
I mean, it grew after that. And it's Live Strong, right?
Yeah,
Live Strong.
Live Strong.
But it's still his. You know who did it. You know who created it. You know what it was about. Testicular cancer, right? What he started.
That's what he had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so now Lance Armstrong. What other big lies in Hollywood have been out there?
Well, you want to say Jussie, but that's not. I mean, anyway, we talked about Jussie.
Jussie Smollett.
Jussie.
Huh?
It's Jussie.
It's Jussie. It's not Jesse.
No.
It's Jussie.
It's Jussie. What a lie.
Jussie.
Jussie.
That's problematic. Jussie Smollett.
That's a cute name.
That is. I need to talk to his mom and dad.
Journey, Jazz, Joaquin.
So you're talking about his family members.
No, they're all J's.
So now So now you're dragging
Jake.
So let me ask a question. His siblings have careers.
Yes.
You think this affects their career?
Yeah. I think Journey is the more popular one. She's the one that was Eve's Bayou and several other.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a wonderful movie. Really, see the movie.
So now Jussie Smollett just didn't hurt the public. Hurt himself. He hurt his own family members. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Lies, those kind of lies are bad lies. Those are lies that I can't accept. I accept the lies. You say you don't lie to your girlfriend. You say you don't lie to your boyfriend. I tell you right now, I lie to my wife all the time. If she asks me a question,
don't let her see this.
Hey, she knows it already. She calls me a liar every day.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just kidding. She just calls me a liar. But what I'm saying to you is that I will not ever, when she comes to me and asks me if she looks good in something and I know she doesn't, I am not going to tell her the truth. I'm going to let her make that decision herself because that's just the reality of it. I understand how to be married, and that's how we see it. We'll be right back. Welcome back to How We See It 3, the podcast. So listen, on this last segment, I want to talk to you about community policing. And this is about real touching issues that surround lives. Because of the continuing lying by police on African Americans and the lack of trust, should we let the community do the policing for the community? And what I mean by that is, should we create a panel of community leaders that police the community? And we're talking about horrorcore communities where a lot of crime and a lot of African black on black crime, instead of having police officers go in, do a community police program where the community actually polices. Because here's the thing about that, is that people think that OJ got off because the jury was African American, predominantly African American. But I think African Americans will hold African Americans more accountable than anybody else. So do you think, because of the lies in the current judicial system, should we have a community policing program? Because then you change. If you are a community policing program and you have a black jury, you have a black prosecutors, and you put black people away, you can't argue that it was racism.
Well, I got a couple questions. First off is like, is there some type of policing program that these people go, or is it, I'm going to sign up like Neighborhood Watch and like, okay, I can arrest you? And then two is that what's the check and balances? Who's checking,
And what's the check and balances now? Exactly.
It's a little bit, I mean.
Well, I get you.
There's a system, somewhat of a system.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you is that the community says we cannot trust police because they're constantly lying. They turn their body cameras off. They don't do anything they're supposed to be doing, and the community can't trust. What if we put the community in charge of the community? What if we did community policing?
Well, I want to know those things, because
obviously there's going to be some checks and balances. Because
but is there like a policing program that teach people kind of how to kind of do this stuff?
Absolutely. But here's the reality of it is I tell you with certainty, that those people in those communities who are victims of drugs, crime, prostitution, murders, understand what right and wrong is. There's no question about it. The problem is they can't say anything because they're feared. But if that community was the police, if that community was the department handling that, it should be able to stand up and put people away. And there shouldn't be any arguments that, I got 15 years because of a racist white jury or a racist white police officer planting evidence when you got now the community putting you away.
Okay. Is this a Wakanda kind of community? Or, I mean, seriously, we're talking a community of all the people that look the same. Is that true?
Like a more minority-driven community?
More diverse department of community policing. What I mean by that is obviously you take a black police officer who went to the academy. He's learning the established academy's policy on policing. Mm-hmm. Okay? You take the people from the community and put them through a very strict program on policing and allow them to police the community, allow them to be witnesses to crimes, and then, hey, go into the police department and say, hey, I just saw little Johnny sell dope to little Bobby, and I want to have him arrested.
You think that would happen?
I'm asking you if it could happen, would it be good? Because here's the thing: we have to change people complain all the time. People complain all the time about the lies that's going on, police officers and the prosecutors and stuff like that. If we are the community who are the victims, the community is the victim, because you don't know what it feels like to be in that community. Well, maybe you do. I don't know.
I
don't.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't think a community, policing community would actually help. What needs to be done is reform of the system, right? The system needs to be reformed. At least the police, the prosecutors, the judge, all that needs to be kind of reformed. I mean, from the bottom up. Right, and then give incentives for people that want to be policemen in these ethnic communities, because policemen are underpaid, right?
Right.
The psyche eval for those policemen is complete crap,
right?
Right. I went through it. I tried to took the test for the highway patrol and did all that stuff, and it's
And obviously it didn't work because you're sitting here with us.
Well, because when I got down into that and I did that and was like, and I saw the people that were, no offense to any of them, because there's some really good policemen and there's a really good highway patrol.
Brother-in-law's a highway patrol.
You know what I mean? There's some really good people, but from what I saw and experienced, it just wasn't for me. Right. You know, there's some very radicalized kind of people kind of down there. I'm just like,
So the judicial system is about checks and balances, about laws and righting the wrong and protecting the community. The community that is protecting doesn't necessarily agree with the way that is protecting them. So if the community is doing the protecting and able to be a witness and the arresting officer and part of the jury, I think you would change the way people, well, first of all, I guarantee the black kids in those communities will leave that community to do crime someplace else. One, because if they know that community is seeing, because the problem with the community now is they see everything they do, but they don't say nothing.
Right.
But if the community spoke up and they were the arresting officer, they were the prosecutor, and they were the judge in the case, then these dudes were like, hey, I'm going to prison for sure, and they're going to give me 35, 40 years I ain't getting out. And they know, but they can fight the system because if they get arrested for a crime or commit a murder in a community, people in the community ain't going to say nothing, so they're going to get away with it. But now if the community is the policing and the jury, they're going to be less likely to commit that crime.
It's about...
We got less than a minute. I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk real quick. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just thought about a community I did live in that was crime-ridden.
Right.
Most of the people look the same.
Right.
We're black people.
Right.
And we were victimized. My family and I were victimized by people in the community.
Absolutely.
Right? I know, you know what I mean? But we never said anything because, well, we don't. That's why I'm like... If we were the police,
was it the no snitching rule that is kind of really bad?
Yeah, because they live next door.
It is really bad.
They live next door.
Because if they don't get convicted by the system, they come back and you have to look at them. But I'm saying if the community is witnessing, they're the jury.
What should we have done? Honestly, we should have called the police, right? We
should have called the police.
The real issue is that if let's just take African Americans because we're all black here, right? Is that we don't teach our own how local politics works, right? So if black communities, let's say here, really wanted to change stuff in very, poorish African sections, right?
Right.
Okay, what day do you go down to, where the community council or the governor or local thing goes?
I'm going to have to end it right there. I appreciate your thoughts on that. Community policing, I still think it's a good idea. We'll be right back after this. More How We See It 3. Welcome back to How We See It 3. This is our segment called After Hours. This is where we're going to discuss all the things we talked about earlier in the podcast, give each one of us an opportunity to voice their opinion, and disagree with me. But that's all right. So, JT, you were talking a little bit about... when we just ended the last segment about community policing.
I say the real issue is that, like, say, for me growing up, right? I grew up in a heavy minority area. Well, I went to, early on in my life, I went to predominantly, Caucasian schools until high school.
Right.
And even in any of my schooling, I've never, up until, say, college, how local governing works. Right. And a lot of people need to be taught that, because you can make the most impact there. Right. So if, say, the Latino, group wants to, make things better, show up to council, show up for that, vote for the people that you're going to, because local, not a lot of people really know or vote about that.
Right.
Look, it starts local. If you really want change, I don't think, a community policing thing will change.
Part of what you're saying is part of community policing. It's about educating the community.
Yes,
it's about giving insight to what's really happened and how to deal with it.
Yeah.
But this is your segment.
Yeah,
so
but I'm just saying if you want in your local thing is that start the protests. If the police aren't doing what they're needed to doing or they're targeting thing, show up to where your mayor or try to do it that way. That's what I think. How when I think of democracy, when I think of red, white, and blue, and that's how I see it.
All right.
It's a little straightforward, black and white.
How you see it?
Well, if we're going to go back into, I just was sitting here thinking, what I would have liked as a young person was not having my neighbors break in my house, right? And these were people that were calling they were friends of mine and that sort of thing. And I saw them with things that they took from my house, but
so you saw your sweater and your jacket.
Oh, my sisters. Yeah. Yes. I was like, oh, that looks familiar. Yeah.
But you didn't say anything.
No, didn't say anything. Me and my mama just, we wanted to get the heck out. And we stayed there 10 years, though, before we were able to get out. But I don't think it would have worked in that community, honestly, community policing, right? Because we weren't.
Well, by the way, there's a sense of community policing in those hardcore communities because there's a code of silence.
Oh, right.
So that's their form of community policing.
Sure. We allowed ourselves to continue to be victimized and terrorized and that sort of thing, right? Yeah. Which wasn't a good thing, but I think, we didn't really know how to handle that, right? Yeah. We didn't want to believe it, but so I think it would have been particularly tough in a community like that. At least where I grew up during those times, it was the times of colors and drive-by shootings.
Right. So gangs.
Yeah, definitely.
Gangs were strong.
Oh yeah, strong. Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting is that it's how I feel about community policing. I think we have to have some form of it because if we don't, we're never going to change anything. I think it's getting better. What we have now is organized community policing. There's sometimes people on the outside call them thugs. That's the Black Lives Matters. That's what we talk to Women's Alliance groups and Women's Alliance Network or whatever it was. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I don't remember the name right now. But these are organized community policing groups that actually come in and they try to change the way the police department is policing the community. The problem with these groups and probably what Black Lives Matters is that they only see what the police is doing to the community. They're not seeing what the community is doing to the community. And I think you have to start by letting the community believe that you're there with them and that you support them. Not just support them against the men in blue or the men and women in blue, but you support them against the criminals elements that's running in their community. Because the reality of it is that if you are living in that community and the Me Too movement, not the Me Too movement, I apologize, the Black Lives Matters is only targeting police officers, well then you're disservicing me. You're not helping me out because the guy, like you said, your neighbor right next to you was a problem.
Right.
And that's still the problem in those communities. So Black Lives Matter got to go to the black men and black women and say, hey, your neighbor's lives matter, your community lives matter. So you have to kind of change that. So that's where I'm coming from in terms of community policing. I agree with you that, if you don't have checks and balances on the law, and so people can run rogue of it. People say, old ladies say, I've been here 35 years, so therefore I'm gonna put every young black boy in prison. Mm-hmm. Okay, you could get that kind of person. You could get that kind of person.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, I just think we need something to, if Black Lives Matter is hit, and Black lives really do matter, they really matter more in the community. Not because the police is invading our community, trying to prevent crime from happening or, abusing their power in our community. It's about the people who live in that community that says, hey, look, I need some protection. I want to be able to have my daughter walk out and not feel threatened. I want to have my son be able to walk to school and not have his shoes taken from him. I really want that. And that's why I think that's where community policing comes from me,
Yeah, like more like a neighborhood watch.
But see, that neighborhood watch doesn't really work in those type of communities. It work in the suburbs because even where I live, homie, if you go out in the middle of the night, there's some lady looking out the window peeking out for you. That's fine. She'll call the police. But in South Central Los Angeles or deep parts of Chicago where crime's committed, and they can look out the window and see someone getting murdered, they shut the door and window, go back to sleep. They don't say nothing because they don't want to get involved because their lives don't matter to that community. And that's what I'm saying. We have to change that. So for me personally, I think that we need that. Now, getting also another thing I want to talk about is that you guys attacked me on the Jussie Smollett, whatever his name is. Jussie Smollett thing. Listen, I believe with all my conviction is that these type of lies do a disservice to everybody. to everybody involved, and it hurts people, and not just hurts the people connected to Jesse, to Mr. Smollett, his TV show, his family, his business, his agent, his lawyer. It does just those people. It hurts gay and lesbian people who are really victims. You know what I'm saying? Who really get abused on a daily basis. It's they're victims. African American people who are abused on a daily basis are discriminated against. These kind of things can be tolerated. I don't care if Jesse comes out or Mr. Smollett comes out and says, "Hey, look, you know what? I apologize. I was going through something. I'm sad." I don't want to hear that because he knew from the word go this was a problem. Okay, this was not a good thing. This was not something that was a law-abiding citizen would do. You know, he paid people to. Now he beat his own self up. Apparently, that's what I'm hearing now. He scratched his own face and stuff. You know, so for me, I don't want. I want to have empathy for him, but I don't. I don't want to feel sorry for him, and I won't. I will just say to you, as God bless him, I wish him all the luck in the future. But he doesn't have a fan in me any longer, whatsoever.
And that's respectful because I'm not a fan, you know. But I'm saying, like me and B were saying, and empathy is not saying it's okay. I wanted to stress that having empathy for someone does not mean what they did is okay, because it's not. Right. It does. If things like that do happen to people,
there's someone out.
You know what I mean? There's so many bad things that true things that happen to people like that, you know. But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to get to his mind somewhat or reasonably thinking like, why did he do that? You know, because if you're saying, well, I'm not getting paid and this is like my worth is equal to money, then there's something below that that's causing that's in your mind that's saying that I'm equating my self-worth to money. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I guess you said it.
And maybe he wasn't a victim that day of that, but I'm sure he's a victim of something.
So then
right?
he should know that with that said, he should have known better.
Sure,
he should have known better.
If there was, but
because
again,
he probably has been a victim of discrimination and racism because he's a gay black male. So he should have known better. So shame on you, Jesse, or Mr. Smollett,
whatever. He's gonna get a mental evaluation.
I don't really care. This is it from us. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.